Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've struggled with, that I know an awful lot of other people have struggled with, and I think everyone to one degree or another struggles with at some point over their entire life, and that is body image. And that's, it's a tough thing when you're living in this flesh that we've got. You can do some stuff to change it if you've got the resources to do so, but for the most part you're stuck with it. If you've got I don't know, if you've got a certain color of eye, if you've got a certain color of hair, if you've got certain kind of physical traits like being tall or being broad or anything like that, having wide hips, then you're mostly going to be stuck with that to one degree or another. And so as a result, lots of people get very down about their body image. It brings on things like anxiety and depression. It's one of the main reasons behind things like eating disorders in a lot of instances. People taking away kind of images from the media and applying them to what they see, even mostly in the mirror, by the way, not what they see generally, but just what they see in themselves. And it can be really tough. When I was a kid, I used to be incredibly skinny when up until probably about the age of 7 or 8, when we moved from like a very rural area into a very into where I am at the moment, essentially. And as a result, my diet changed, my environment changed. I started becoming kind of sick more often. I ended up being developing asthma and hay fever to rather significant extremes. And it was like at that time that I also put on an awful lot of weight, and it was a tough thing. I had been skinny for a long time. I had never necessarily thought of myself as attractive, but then that's when the bullying started, where I was suddenly bullied, not just because of stuff that I did, or if I was being picked on just for a day because of a thing that happened. Where I could rationalize it. It still wasn't good. It still wasn't nice, but I could break it down and rationalize it. I was being bullied because I was just a bit bigger than other people, because my metabolism maybe wasn't as fast as others, or because I was kind of building up that fat reserve to then use later, which kind of panned out being what happened. But again, it's a tough thing for people to deal with, and it can, like, I stopped giving a crap towards the end of kind of my kind of compulsory schooling. And so moving on after that, when I did slim down, when I did get fitter, um, then that was a case of me going, okay, well, I don't care anymore. And not caring was probably one of the best things I could do, because it gave me that perspective to then kind of plan out what I wanted, see what was important to me, and what was important to me about my body as well. And so, I wanted to kind of come in and just throw a small list of things that have worked for me, that have worked for other people, and just as a way of addressing these things that everyone goes through, because it can be tough. It can, as said, lead to really nasty places. And so nipping it in the bud, kind of changing yourself around, attractiveness isn't as skin, as like flesh focused as people give it credit for. And so as much as people want to be attractive and they want to have that certainty in their body image and whatever else, it's not as important as you'd think. And kind of addressing that kind of refocus, um, it's important, because otherwise you do end up in those bad places to one degree or another. But the first thing that I would do is start asking yourself questions like, what kind of person do I want to be? Do I want to be active, and do I want to be fit and healthy, or do I want to kind of enjoy what I want to enjoy? Now, I would argue that also to keep in mind with this, there's a difference between being attractive, being healthy, and then purely being who you want. And I will always advocate for being healthy, but health isn't necessarily looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger or a Victoria's Secret model or anything like that. Health is being functional. And so if you can function, and if you are still able to do the things that you want, then go ahead. Yeah? My problem is when people start bringing up things like BMI, the body mass index, which quite frankly is a terrible system that does not function, does not take into account anywhere near enough variables to do what it suggests it can do. Weight is not an indicator of fitness. If you look at people like again, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is a big guy, and if you measured him on BMI when he was in his youth, he would be counted as overweight or obese simply on the weight, on his mass. And yet most of that mass was pure muscle. You could not say that Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, despite the number that would be attributed to his weight, you can't kind of say that he was unfit and unhealthy. So taking a look and kind of working things out on other things is going to be far more worthwhile. Measuring based on weight, sure, it gives you a number that you can track your progress on, but working out whether or not you're actually achieving, whatever goal it is that you've got. Again, setting out goals with your goal first, addressing the reality of it, finding what options you have to pursue that kind of goal to begin with, and then moving forward on it, making your way forward. That's the way that we plan, that's the way that we work. And so having those measurements, having those things to track that progress, very important. But doing that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to buy into all of the other things that come with it especially around health. But anyway, I've gone off on a sidetrack. The things that you need to do, the first things that you need to do are asking yourself questions. What type of person do you want to be? What kind of things do you want to do? What matters most to you? So for instance, taking me as an example again at the moment, I've said in other videos that I'm not as fit as I used to be and I need to improve. I have taken up doing exercise every morning, for about half an hour, 45 minutes, just to try and keep myself maintained, try and keep myself functional, but I'm still arguably heavier than I should be. In which case, though, looking at it, where are my priorities? Yeah, what kind of person do I want to be? Well, I want to be functional, as said. That's important to me. I want to be healthy, and according to my doctor, apparently that's something that I am. I want to be able to pursue the things that I want to pursue, and my priorities wise at the moment are coming in with developing this YouTube channel, developing my relationships with certain people, working through to living the life that I want to live. Does fitness have a part in that? Certainly. Is it as high a priority as defining what I want to do and how I want to do it? How I want to make a living, how I want to move forward on that? No, not in the slightest. In which case, I've allowed myself time for exercise, certainly, but I've not allowed myself kind of the extra time, as it were, to maybe make faster progress on it because I have other things that require my attention at that time or for those periods of time. The next thing is that our bodies, they're not perfect. We do not control every part of them. And so acknowledging that, a lot of people would say maybe showing some gratitude towards your body, but I would say more being forgiving towards it. Yeah, there are going to be times when your body is going to let you down. Forgive it and move on. Yeah, as long as your body hasn't given up on you and you're dead, then there is always a tomorrow that you can move forward with. if you've lost weight 3 days in a row, but then when it comes to you weighing in for your weekly checkup, to be like 100% that you're happy with your weight and you've put on some again, well, yeah, that could be all manner of things. That could be some extra water sat around in your body somewhere. That could mean that you need to go to the toilet. It could mean that you just had a slightly heavy meal the night before and it's not passed through you yet. Yeah, it could be all manner of different things. And so the thing to do, forgive yourself, do better. The last couple of things, though, are that I would suggest are kind of, they aren't necessarily completely like related to you. They are more the influences that come into contact with you. Now, one of them is a big one, and I've talked about this in a couple of other videos before in various ways, but it's social media. And arguably media in general, but more specifically social media. Because if you look in at TV, and you're watching a TV show that involves model-esque individuals walking around with very few clothes on or whatever else, yeah, some drama or some reality TV show, then it's easy for you to go, okay, well, they're like that because they've had the opportunity to be like that, and I'm not. Fair enough. But when you go on social media, everyone on there that you have as a friend or that you have as a contact is someone that you can directly compare to because you're all on a kind of level playing field. And those comparisons are where things break down. That's where you start looking at other people and judging yourself based on what you see and what you perceive as being good or right or whatever. And so you go on and you see a guy or a girl that you knew in school and maybe they weren't as attractive then, but now they are absolutely stunning. And you go, oh, well, I'm still just as hideous as I was then. I'm going to go crawl in a hole and die now. Well, yeah, you could do that. Or alternatively, you could go, well, they've lived an entirely different life. They're looking good. Good for them. And then you move on and do whatever you need to do what you want. But social media, it's again, either take it in context where you consciously maintain that appreciation of difference, or you just take it easy on the social media. Step away from a bit. Give yourself a little bit of a kind of social media diet cut down, if you like. If you're dieting anyway as your way of losing weight, include social media in that diet and decrease its relevance. And then the last thing is that I would say things like disliking your body and kind of aiming to lose weight or to improve yourself through torture is also not a good thing. And what I mean by that is, for instance, people who are using body shame as a reason to stop eating. In the long run, yeah, you might become anorexic and then you'll be incredibly skinny because you've just basically starved yourself to the edge of snapping like a twig and dying. But you got to realize that if you're still eating but you're deliberately starving yourselves at times for no reason, without any kind of monitoring or moderation or anything like that, there is something to be said for fasting as part of certain health programs and diets and kind of workout routines and things like that. But overall, if you're just stopping yourself from eating because you think it will make you worse, if you don't eat enough, your body goes into kind of panic mode and it goes into survival mode, and so it starts storing fats more effectively. It starts putting stuff into long-term storage so that you can use it for the oncoming drought and famine that it's perceiving. And as I said, you don't control your body entirely. So simply put, the way to do it would be kind of small regular meals or something like that, instead of just starving yourself. Yeah. Body shame, body insecurity, it's not a diet plan, it's not a workout routine, it's not anything that you can ground your efforts in. Yeah, because it's emotion, it's nebulous, it can be anything at any time, just with something like clicking in your head. The way to do it: come up with a plan, decide what you want, and then move forward on that plan. Yeah, I've done other videos on how to plan. I did the kind of coaching session ages ago that I put up an entire kind of session of questions for you guys to work through if you felt inclined to. I'll leave that video, a link to that one down in down in the description. But otherwise, guys, simply put, there are an awful lot of people in the world that don't find themselves very attractive. But what you need to realize is that it's not important if you find yourself attractive. You don't have to look at yourself. You're looking out through your own eyes. That's it. In which case, the least to consider yourself would be kind of neutral, kind of grey area. Yeah? Otherwise, you're going to start falling into these dark places, and that's when potentially even some of the stuff that I've suggested here might not help you, and you'll need medical help because of the trouble that you'll get yourself into. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. A little bit of experience, a little bit of my experience, a little bit of rambling, and a little bit of actual kind of ideas to maybe help you guys think around stuff a bit more. But yeah, so simply put, just to round up, look at being functional, look at doing what you want, look at being healthy, but also address that realization of not being perfect, and that perfection generally isn't a thing that you can expect from yourself or anybody else. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.